morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today at Earth and Sky. We really appreciate you opening up and spending your Sunday morning with us. Our theme this year is all about the moon phases. And so we're going to delve again a little bit deeper into that. The middle of January, we talked about the new moon. And each month we've been talking about the specific moon that's coming up. But we're also getting into the different moon phases throughout the year. So we talked about the new moon already. We had last week talked about how February has no moon this year, which happens about 4 times in a century. We have only 28 days in February, so that can happen. And the blue moons that we've had around us recently. Well, right now, Thursday, we just had the full moon, which means now we're getting into the waning gibbous moon. So what does that mean? What does that mean for you? First, just the moon itself is so magical. It just really and before I get into the moon though, I did want to make sure to ask you to please like our Facebook page if you haven't already. And just giving you a little teaser before our announcements, I suppose. So please like our Facebook page. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. We do upload to our YouTube channel a little bit faster than we do to Facebook. So if you'd like to get the videos before they're out on Facebook, go ahead and subscribe to YouTube. And sometimes we provide a little extra content on our Facebook page that doesn't go to YouTube. So if you want all the content, please like both of those pages for us. On YouTube, you can decide how many of our videos you want by checking the bell button if you want to get all of the notifications, or just get some of the notifications if you prefer that too. So whichever you prefer. Also on Tuesday, we are doing a singing bowl class. So if you're interested in the Tibetan singing bowls, we're going to get into a little bit about the bowls, what they do, how to use them. If you have a bowl already, then please bring it with you. If you don't, we will have a few extras here too. So we'd love to have you join us. We'll talk about how you can use them for healing and massage and meditation and balance and a whole world that opens up with the singing bowls. It's one of my favorite things. I really love the singing bowls, and I look forward to sharing that passion with you and seeing if you feel like it resonates with you, if it's something you want to draw and do in your own life. I would love that. So Tuesday, 6 p.m. at Earth and Sky. The cost is $20. And feel free to go ahead and come on in if you'd like. Let me know if you're coming, or you can just drop in on this one. So back to the moon. It's like our little commercial break in the middle. So back to the moon phases. Pretty much everybody, I think, whether you really do a lot with the moon or whether you just admire her beauty, pretty much everybody tends to, at some points in their life, look up and see the mystery of the moon. And you look up kind of with awe, or you just see the beauty. You notice how she captures you, and noticing how sometimes she's really, really full. Sometimes she's really, really dark. And sometimes you'll have that full spectrum. In a way, it really represents life, because you have that full cycle. You have the moon can represent birth, death, rebirth, the fullness of life, every phase in between. The word moon actually comes from the Greek word measure, and so you can measure a lot of things with the moon and the different phases of the moon, and see how that resonates with your life. I've actually found that a lot of tornadoes and hurricanes tend to happen more at the new moon and the full moon, and just regular rain showers, from what I've read, tend to happen a little bit more during the first quarter of the moon and the third quarter of the moon. So something kind of interesting to pay attention to if you want to, notice that, see those trends. When we talked previously about the new moon, we talked about how that's a phase for introspection. It's time to look at the shadow side within yourself, and time to address those things that maybe you don't always want to look at within yourself, and take a peek at those, because it's when you look into that shadow side of yourself and those darker places that you don't always address, the deeper parts of your personality, the deeper parts of your psyche. That's where sometimes you can really grow and blossom and learn so much, so that you can choose what you want in your life. And with the full moon, we have the fullness of the moon's energy heightened, like it's on full blast. So a lot of times with the full moon, people will feel their energy just rise, and you'll see the hospitals will overflow with patients, and different mental health Places will really rise with a lot of things going on, and even in your workplace, you've probably noticed at the full moon that everybody gets a little heightened. At the new moon, people tend to get a little bit more introspective, a little quieter. It's like driving a car, and just the moon like really drives you in a way too, and so it's figuring out where you. Figuring out how the moon affects you, and then you can start to really harness that and take control and steer your own car as you're driving in life, instead of feeling like the tides are just pulling you back and forth, as the moon helps with guiding the ocean. The moon has such a pull with water, and we are made of so much water ourselves, so it's no wonder that the moon has an effect on us. And it's about figuring out how you can ride with that tide, how you can flow with her energy instead of flowing against the current. It's much easier in life if you feel the current, feel the rhythm of life, and then use that current to propel you to where you want to go. Sometimes it's time to be quieter. Sometimes it's time to really push and take action and move forward. So the moon phase really can guide a lot of that. Unlocking the keys of the phases can really help unlock the keys of how you can decide to create your own fate in life, and to how to harness your destiny. And so when the moon also really, sometimes it can seem a bit stoic in nature, with the constant cycles. It symbolizes not only life, death, birth, rebirth, all of that. It also really symbolizes the beauty of our own physical essence and our eternal spirit. It's both infinite and cyclical at the same time. So it has all of these different things in there, and it really has a profound effect on our emotions. If you look into astrology, the moon in your chart represents your emotions. So the sun is your personality, the moon is your emotions, that inner side, the part that maybe isn't always expressed to people, and sometimes you may struggle to understand your own emotions fully, but the moon really guides a lot of that. The full moon will also often pull women into menstruation. Pregnant women will often go into labor because they have that watery womb, and so when the moon gets full, it starts to unlock that. And we can also see a lot of our shadows in the moon too when it goes down to the new moon. Science has proven that everything in life has a frequency. That's again one of the things we'll get into with the Tibetan bowl class that we have on Tuesday. Everything has a frequency that it vibrates at. All matter, no matter what it is, all matter has a frequency, and the moon is no different. The moon's frequency rate goes up as she goes to full, and it goes down as she goes to new. And so when you follow that pattern, you can really harness that energy. You can create so much in life that way. So for people who are looking to charge your crystals, we talk a lot about cleansing and charging your crystals. Well, you want to charge your crystals just as it's getting ready to go to full. The night before the full moon is really the best time to charge your crystals, because you're harnessing that full rising energy. You want to charge them and get that full rise of the energy and put that into the crystals. So depending on the time that the moon precisely is full, you might leave them out the night before the full moon and the night of the full moon. If the moon is completely full at midnight or 1 a.m., then you're just going to want to charge them the night before and then draw them in if you want to be really precise. Again, intention is everything, though. It doesn't have to be rock solid in a specific science. You're not going to mess something up just because you have it out a day late or something. But if you really want to harness the fullness of the energy, that's the best time to really charge your crystals. Cleansing your crystals comes in as we reach the new moon, though. And because the full moon really looks like she appears so round, she's pregnant with possibilities. It appears bright because the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So you have that personality and that emotion semblance that are just, shining on each other and really reflecting that light back to us. So it's like the seed is in full bloom, and you're receiving all that you can possibly, all that you've been working to manifest, all that you can possibly bring into yourself, all of those possibilities. You're drawing them in as the moon reaches full, which is what we've just been experiencing this last week. But the waning gibbous moon is the phase we're moving into now. So I keep referencing this as though I have the moons on here already. I need to do that soon. But in my mind, I'm seeing my moons on here, so I keep pointing to the wheel. But the waning gibbous moon, so waning means going down. Waxing means coming up. So as the moon is getting full, we're waxing. As the moon is draining down, then it's waning, just like as light is waning. It's that same term. Gibbous means basically when it's nearly full, but not quite full. It's more than halfway full. So gibbous can be where you have waxing gibbous just before the full moon, or waning gibbous just as it's starting to go down. And so with the gibbous moon, you have that heightened activity still that you've been building with the full moon. Even though that energy is starting to dissipate, you still have all of that heightened, those higher frequency vibrations that are radiating. So if you are wanting to instill energy in something, or you have a habit that you're really wanting to break and you need some extra focus with it, then the gibbous, the waning gibbous, is really good because it's going to give you that extra push, that extra punch with all of that energy from the gibbous moon to get rid of those bad habits or negative thinking. Now, the reason we're talking about getting rid of things is because it's waning. So anytime the light is waning, that's when we're starting to go more inward. We're starting to become introspective and starting to look within and see what you want to release. All things in life, we have times where we're bringing things in, and we have times where it's needing to be released. And so if you're always drawing in and you're always trying to manifest and you're always trying to create and you just want to get that where you're on top and you have everything you want, well, your life's going to be pretty full and chaotic because you don't have that release valve. You're not following that cycle where you're also releasing, letting go, seeing what you need to do to raise yourself up to the level where you can manifest those things. So the waning gibbous moon, in a way, is helping you to set the stage so that you can be ready when it's time to plant the seeds. You need to have your own frequency, your own vibration rate at a level where you can be open to receiving the whatever it is you want to manifest too. It's just as important to release and see what you need to let go of so that you can create yourself to be the person that you really want to be and need to be and aspire to be, so that you can draw in everything that you want to draw in life. And so this is the perfect time to really do that. If you feel like you're ever caught in negative thinking or self-doubt, or you feel like you have that negative self-talk or critical talk to yourself, or bad habits, if you're trying to stop smoking or stop drinking or any of those things, whatever it is, whatever you feel like you have too much of, or if you feel like you're overwhelmed with clutter in your house, this is a great time to kind of go inward for a minute, take a breath so you don't feel overwhelmed with whatever it is you're trying to release, and then just start to go introspective and figure out why you're holding on to those things. Why are you holding on to certain thought patterns? Why are you holding on to certain things in your house? Why do you feel like you have whatever it is that you have in your life that you want to release? And start to work on letting go of those thought patterns or those things, whatever it is. And sometimes you can even take baby steps. The waning gibbous moon is a good time to really look within and see what it is you want to get rid of, but you also have that big push because of the vibration that the moon has. So this is not the time to just really have a slow progress of letting go. This is where, if you're wanting that kick to help you get started with clearing things out, this is the perfect time to do it. It'll give you that zest. So always take that breath first, center yourself, figure out what it is you want to let go of in your life, and then just feel that moon's energy giving you that push so that you can do it, so that you can reach those next steps, so that you can set the stage, so that you can be the person that you need to be, so that you can manifest and have the space to draw in whatever it is that you want to draw in your life, so that you can have that fullness of life, because it's only 14 days until we reach the new moon, and that's the time to start planting the seeds for what you want to create again. Now this is that micro within the macro. We have the moon phases. Every 28 days we have planting the seed, starting to grow it, receiving, and then having gratitude and releasing and letting go, and then planting the seed again. So it's a small cycle that goes within the wheel that keeps spinning throughout this whole wheel. And then we also have these outer aspects and Sabbats that we celebrate that have that same pattern within them. As you're noticing, the new moon is really similar to the winter holidays. Introspection, planning, planting the seed comes in the spring. Feeling that fullness of the full moon is in the summer. So you have that whole cycle on a larger scale too. So see how you can work with that in your life. Where are the bigger things that will take longer? And follow that wheel of the year. And what are the smaller things that you can really do? See what you can create within 28 days. Write down what your goal is. Write down what you want to create in your life. Write down what you want to get rid of. You can even map out a few months ahead if you want to. If you want to be really ambitious with it, figure out what you want to focus on each month. You can even coincide that as you start learning through the year about which moons represent what things. And you can see how that pattern is starting to form where you can really harness a lot from the moon about creating, releasing, letting go, and setting the stage and manifesting, living the life that you want to live, having yourself at that level where you can receive all that you want to receive in your life, and you can feel that fullness of joy. You can feel where you can flow with the currents. Yes, life will always have ups and downs within it, but when you realize that you can flow with that current, then you can really feel like you can harness that power and feel joy throughout the ups and downs. You'll feel that stability within yourself, even as life throws you curveballs. You'll feel that stability within yourself so that you can keep going and have that joy, have that peace, have that balance within yourself, and knowing that everything is cyclical. So if you feel like you're in a spot right now where you're in a down phase, a lot of people have cabin fever right now in the north because we've been cooped up, so everybody's kind of raring to get out and start doing things. And so you can really harness that power to find balance even in those phases, to learn to have joy and to learn to flow with life. The moon is a great way to figure that out, following all of these patterns. The waning moon is really a great time to think about anything that you want to get rid of. Be creative about it. Be creative about thinking what you want to release in life. The waning moon is always an energy that will repel things, whereas the waxing moon will always attract things. So this is really good time, a really good time for where the energy begins to improve, so communication gets better. Sometimes as we reach that full moon, communication starts to get wonky. Everybody's got their own emotional charges, and that energy just gets heightened. Some people feel like they're ready to burst in certain ways, and so everybody's a little on edge sometimes. A lot of people are on edge around the full moon. And then as it starts to wane, the space that we're just entering into now, you'll start to notice communication opens up again. It might feel like you can talk to people a little bit more fluidly. You might feel like you're understood a little bit better. All of this energy that we had going up through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, because you still had that full moon energy riding through there, by Sunday, today, starts to release and dissipate. So you can soothe those if you have any relationships that you feel like you've been arguing a little bit more lately, or you feel like it's just been a little bit rockier, you just haven't understood what your people in your life are talking about. This is the time to go back and address those things and say, oh, we were talking the other day and I didn't quite understand. Let's figure this out. This is the time to start doing that, because you can release those old patterns and figure out and move into the new. This is also a great time for completion and revelation during the waning gibbous moon. For meditation or divination, this is really a time for introspection. It's not a time to look into the future and see what's going to happen into the future. That's when you're waxing with the moon. You're waning, so you're going introspective. You're looking within, figuring out what you need to do to prepare yourself. Look within, see what you have that you can release so you can open up for new blessings, new joy, and the new ability to manifest. It's just fascinating to look around at the people around you, and especially within yourself, and see these patterns. You might even decide to start keeping a journal and recording when you have really up days and when you have really down days. And notice what the moon phase is in that time. Everybody will have your own flow with how the moon is with your life too. So figure out what your own patterns are. Maybe have a little bit more patience when we're in that height of the full moon, and know that as we're in this current phase where it's that waning gibbous moon, that this is the time where you can better that communication, you can release that anxiety, and figure out anything that you want to release, and just let it go. Let it flow down with that river. Let the moon carry that tide away, and know that you're setting the stage to create whatever it is you want in your life. You have all of that power within you to create what you want in your life. So it's always that balance, releasing, letting go, and manifesting. So honor the times of releasing. Sometimes I think people struggle a little bit more with releasing and letting go. We like to receive and add new, but releasing and letting go can be a little hard, just like goodbyes can be a little harder, endings can be a little harder. But this is a great time to learn to harness that and practice with it, and feel how that energy feels. Feel how the endings and the releasing, feel how that energy feels with you, and learn to embrace it. By embracing it, you're going to feel like you can follow that rhythm of life, find balance within yourself, and find that joy. I hope that you have found some joy today as you've been watching this video. For those who join us in person, we do meditation usually afterwards. So if you want to join us in person, you are welcome to do that as well. We will have some other public meditations coming up this spring too that will be outside of our live talks. If you're interested in that, let us know. And please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you feel like any of your friends or family might enjoy it, please hit the share button. We love to get our videos out, and we appreciate the shares, the likes, and the loves from all of you. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube if you want the content before it goes out on Facebook. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy this waning gibbous moon energy.